Hey everybody, thanks for coming to another episode of What's in the Box, and happy springtime. I bet there's one vegetable, if you think about spring and vegetables, there's one thing that always comes to mind. It's asparagus time. So I really want to take advantage of the beautiful flavor that asparagus has, and could not decide what recipes to do with it. So I'm gonna make 4 different recipes. They're all very easy, very simple. If we're going to do a flatbread, we're going to do a soup, a salad, and then we're going to just grill some asparagus, which as the weather gets better, there's nothing better. So to get things started, I want to prep for my flatbread. If you've ever had, gone to a pizza shop and had a white pie, this is kind of what I'm going for here. So to make our ricotta cheese, I've got about a cup of cashews just soaking in some water. You can let them soak overnight or just put hot water in there and give them at least like 30 minutes to 2 hours, and then you'll get some good soft cashews to blend into our ricotta. So I'm going to take this and put it to the side for now. Let them soak. And I want to get started on a really, really amazing cream of asparagus soup. So, get all my items together here. Okay. So, making cream of anything soup without the cream, I'm sure you're like, what's she up to? But of course, I have some of my favorite secret ingredients here to make it a little bit not only creamy and makes sense with the name, but also give it some more nutrition and end up making it like a full meal kind of soup. So usually cream of asparagus or cream of broccoli soup is like really dense and heavy and thick. This is a really light and lightened up version. So I got all my ingredients here to make a delicious, nutritious, and beautiful soup. The first thing I'm gonna do is turn on my pan here. Little saucepan, little pot, whatever name you might give your pans these days. Dutch oven, the big red ones, big red one behind me. So I'm gonna get the pot like nice and warm. In the meantime, I'm gonna get ready with some base ingredients. So whenever doing like a cream of blank soup, I really do like to go kind of French in the preparation and the way that we do that is by utilizing the shallot. So I know I haven't used that a lot on this program before, but shallots are awesome. Shallots are like the best combination of onion and garlic at the same time. So we get all the flavors. So like an onion, I'm gonna slice it in half. And then where I have the papery bit, I'm just gonna peel it off. And then you'll see it looks like a tiny little purple onion. And the health benefits of these things are just through the roof. I can't get over, especially recently doing more research on anti-cancer foods and things to help to promote, kill off DNA that's mutated and help to improve your immune system and all that stuff. Just nothing as powerful as there's cruciferous vegetables, love talking about, but these are in the family called alliums. And so the phytonutrients and the antioxidants that are in alliums in particular are they're great. So my pan's nice and hot, I can hear it singing to me. So I'm gonna put in about a teaspoon of oil, just a little drizzle. And like an onion, I'm gonna cut the shallot long ways with the ridges. Instead of going across this way, because it's so small, I'm just gonna cut it from here. So from right to left, keep your hand a little claw, and then you can make a nice size. Since it's a cream of blank soup, we're gonna puree things at the end, so don't worry about these being perfect knife cuts. That's never something to really worry about when you're gonna chuck it all in the blender. But actually today we're going to use a little immersion blender, which is a great tool to have in the kitchen. All right, garlic, can't get away with this one without garlic. Got big old cloves here, so don't want to smack them too loud. Get this guy off. the thing is that what makes allium vegetables so extremely high in their antioxidants is basically, you know why they smell so strong? All those oils and all of those all the smells that you get from the onions and from the garlic, that's the actual potent mechanism that's going into your body and kicking butt. So it's really great. So if someone's like, I don't like the way it smells, well, the smell is good. The smell in itself is what's good for us. So let's celebrate the smells. I just got 2 big old hunks of garlic here. And when I say hunk, I mean hunk, like, geez Louise. But that's an ingredient I always like. If you want to use the already minced garlic or the chopped garlic in the little jar, that's completely fine for this. All right, so in my shallots and garlic. All right, I'm gonna let them just kind of sweat is what we'd call it. So I'm not gonna, be sauteing, throwing things up in the air and doing anything fancy. I'm just mixing it with the oil and just letting all the moisture from the onions just start to break down and soften things up. Sweat. So, I think that's a funny term. Just recently, I was like, yeah, that's an interesting way to explain a cooking method. But hey, we're sweating over here on this 30-degree April day. So I have 2 cups of water here because I want to use some bouillon, because using the box broth over and over and over again can sometimes get a little bit expensive, and sometimes they have really inconsistent flavors. Like the ShopRite brand one tastes different from the Pacific brand, and I really liked using this recently, and this is the Better Than Bouillon, and it's reduced sodium, vegetable base. Delicious. So it's a teaspoon per 8 ounces. You can see how strong I am. Oh no! It's stuck! Oh, wow, magically it's open. I don't know how that happened. So it's a teaspoon per 8 cups, so I'm gonna do about 2 teaspoons. And you can, like, when you smell it, you're like, oh yeah, that smells like vegetable soup. So this is all going to go in the pot there, so I'm not too worried about it all dissolving, because we're going to dump that in the pot. Not going to close this as tightly. I start to smell. Oh, they're definitely sweating in there. It is a sweaty pot. It smells so good. But whenever you start cooking anything and it's with onions and garlic, that's when the whole room stops and goes, what smells so good? The onions and garlic. But that doesn't mean they're not beautiful. The next ingredient I'm going to put in there to get some sweat is my asparagus. So for these recipes, I'm trying to do things in medium spear quantities. So I have about 10 asparagus spears that I'm using for this recipe, for the soup. So it's going to make maybe about 4 cups or 2 about 4 cups probably, but we'll find out. So the thick bottom ends are usually really tough, so I'm going to go ahead and cut them off. But sometimes a trick people like to do if it's really big and woody is that they bend it and then it'll snap off where the hard parts are, like that. But I found it was a lot easier to just chop them off. Another thing is if they're really big, I mean monsters, I do have a lot of folks who I know who shave the asparagus just to peel it, but we're actually going to shave it later for a different reason. We're shaving, we're sweating. I know you guys thought it was a cooking show. Alright, so I'm just cutting my asparagus pieces, chop, chop. And once I get to the tips here, I'm going to slow down because I really love having those pieces to serve on top, so that you know for a fact that what you're having is asparagus soup. You don't know unless it has it on top. So I'm going to take my pieces, let them go in the pot to sweat. And just the smell of fresh asparagus, even on its own, just makes my whole body happy. It's a really exciting time for food. Alright, oh, we got a little browning in here, so we went a little step above the sweating, but browning is flavor, so I'm not mad about it. Okay, so I'm going to take my tips and I'm just going to put them to the side for now. And then I'm going to put in, while this is kind of sitting there doing its thing, a little crank of salt. Again, help pull the moisture out. Salt and pepper, gotta. Those are the rules. Give it a little mix. Yeah, okay. So I've got my 2 cups of vegetable broth over here. It's all mixed up, very nice. Oh, perfect. All right, gonna dump it in. There's the bouillon. Get in there. Okay. This to the side. And now, of course, this wouldn't be a dietitian approved recipe unless there was beans somewhere. So had to put them in the soup. So instead of doing cream of whatever soup with like butter and heavy cream, we're gonna take the cannellini beans. You could use navy or navy beans or Great Northern beans, but just white ones. I like cannellinis because they have a really thin skin on the outside. So I have about 15-ounce can that I just rinsed to get the salt off, and I'm gonna put it in there with my soup and my asparagus, broth and my asparagus. So you got a nice little ratio of vegetable to bean. And so I'm gonna let that sit there, come up to a boil, and go down to a simmer until the asparagus is tender enough to like poke a fork through, come right back out, and then therefore perfect for blending. So turn this up. While the soup gets ready, I'm going to get our next recipe ready. And what's soup without a salad? So gotta hit all the things on the head these days. Gotta make sure. All right, our next recipe is going to be a delicious shaved asparagus salad. Again, kind of utilizing a lot of our beautiful spring vegetables. Wanted to put together something really nice and light and refreshing. My radishes there. One thing that I really like to do when I do like really good salads is to build the dressing on the bottom of the bowl, and then we're gonna put the ingredients on top and just really mix the heck out of it. And then we'll really mix it. So I've got my pretty bowl here. So for just a basic vinaigrette dressing, you couldn't get any simpler. We've got about a tablespoon of mustard here. You could use Dijon mustard. You can use whole grain mustard if you want those little pop in there. That's usually a good move. We're using this kind today. About a teaspoon of oregano. If you have fresh, that's better. I just have the dry here today, so it's about a teaspoon of the dry. And then I'm going to grab my shallot. Again, we're kind of sticking with our little fresh countryside French theme here. I'm gonna cut off the tip. And I'm not gonna use the whole shallot, I'm just gonna kind of slice it in half. And instead of making it diced, I'm going to just slice into kind of like mini moons here, so that those little pieces of onion are going to be throughout the salad, but it's not going to be one bite that's like super heavy and spicy. It's going to kind of mix around with everybody else. So slice that. And you can see it's kind of like having some fresh onion, but we are doing shallots today. All right. So then for the actual dressing part, I'm going to put in about 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. Okay, and I'm sure this is the part where I'm saying we're missing here. is a whisk. Oh, we got a boil here on the soup, so I'm gonna turn it down to simmer. I'm gonna T-minus 10 minutes and just let it cook for 10 minutes. All right, so over here, my dressing, got my vinegar, my shallot, my oregano. It's just nice and fresh and light and very, very, very nice. I'm also going to put in the juice of about half of a lemon because this is a pretty big guy. And I want it to have a nice balance there. So I wanted to show you this fun new toy. If you haven't had one of these, go for it. I was really skeptical of the lemon squeezer until I did it, and I don't know if I'm gonna go back. So, ready? When you do it like this, you don't get a seed. You don't gotta worry about them at all. They're staying put where they are. So just squeeze my lemon. Pretty stuff. Yep, got all the juice out. Right, there's a little more. Basically did the best juicing I could possibly do. Hot. Steam's hot. Okay, so the next thing I'm gonna throw in here, just about a tablespoon or so of olive oil. Not to make this a really heavy vinaigrette dressing, but kind of making a temporary emulsion. I don't want to be fancy about it. Little salt, little pepper, and we got a beautiful temporary mustard shallot emulsion. Or vinaigrette if you just want to call it that. That's what it is. All right, so for the rest of the ingredients, let's get moving here. We've got our baseline. So I'm gonna take my asparagus here. It's already been washed. And I'm gonna commence the shaving. So get your peeler. Got nice, these are great, these Y ones instead of the other ones. I don't know why. The Y one is just a little bit easier to use. So I'm gonna take my asparagus and cutting away from me, I'm gonna start to peel. These are pretty thin, but still the consistency is just like really thin and papery. And it's gonna marinate in this dressing, and it's just so pretty and delicious. So I got a few good shaves from that one. As it gets thinner and more floppy, don't be a hero. We can always cut it up into smaller pieces and then put it in later. So let's see what we can do with the peelers so far. Asparagus does grow out of the ground like this, like a stick, and it's pretty funny. You can get other shapes of asparagus too if you go to a U-Pick place, like in Terracune Orchards in Princeton. You can go pick your own asparagus, and I went to go do it one time, and instead of it being a long stick like this, it was a floppy paddle. So if you really like asparagus, that ended up being like an asparagus steak kind of feeling. All right, I've peeled a lot of my asparagus, so the rest of these pieces I'm just gonna chop nice and thin. All right, and so since I have these in ribbons, I kind of want to go with the similar like thin and wispy consistency, so I'm gonna slice these on a diagonal. Again, right to left. Keep your hand a little claw. Whoop. Don't cause chaos. And when people say salad, you know, you're always like, oh, lettuce, that's so boring. We're not just doing lettuce. We'll use some lettuce because we have it, but that's not the main ingredient of this recipe. This is asparagus salad. Okay, yay. Got it. I'm not gonna waste any of this good stuff here. Throw it in. So it's gonna marinate in there and just get really delicious. To go along with our shaved theme, I'm gonna take my cucumber actually, and I'd like to cut it the end off. I like to use the English cucumbers specifically because they're wrapped in plastic, and it's only because one time I got this cucumber and it was just, you know, regular old kind of cucumber from the supermarket, and I didn't know that they had wax on them. It just didn't cross my mind, and I made a whole bunch of vegetable, like cucumber rolls, a bunch of sushi, and it was all soapy. I ruined all of them. They all tasted like soap. I had to throw it away. Very disappointing, especially after making the rice and doing everything that you do for sushi. It's just breaks your heart. So I'm gonna give this a nice little peel. A cafe I worked at in DC, and they topped their avocado toast with ribbons of cucumber, like kind of like this, big little slices, and it was very pretty. So now the fact that I got to these seeds, it's getting all watery. I'm gonna go to the other side now, get more of the skin, the waxless skin. So I'm gonna kind of stop here. That doesn't mean the rest of this cucumber is bad. It's just the rest of that cucumber is really, really watery. And so I want to eat that, you know, with hummus or by itself. Nothing is to waste here. Next ingredient we're gonna throw in is some radishes. Again, springtime salads, I think they almost always have asparagus and radishes. We're gonna do a few peels, see how it looks. Oh yeah, that's really pretty. All right, here's my idea. I'm gonna cut the bottom off so that it has a flat bottom so it doesn't wiggle around all over the place. And then I'm gonna, kind of like an apple, I'm gonna go around all four sides. 1, 2, yes, I just love using this peeler for these slices. It's so nice. If you have a mandolin, that's another, you know, great instrument you can use. Not instrument, but, you know, instrument. A cooking instrument. Once you get to here, again, don't gotta be a hero. I'm gonna save it as snacks. So I'm gonna use about 4 radishes. And then I'm gonna do a similar thing with carrots. If you have adult carrots, that's a much better choice. I have baby carrots. So it's gonna, you know, they're gonna be baby ribbons, which I'm fine with. But you just have to be careful. Again, you know, don't be a hero. Don't try to cut stuff that's wiggling around the cutting board. And all these little pieces are good for hummus. You know that. Some hummus with all these veggies would be really nice. I'm trying to find bigger ones. Alright, so you get the idea, you know, pretty slices. The other ingredients, I'm going to do some fresh string beans. Another spring ingredient you might see all over the place are peas. But we had string beans today, so I wanted to use the string beans. Cut off those tips. And like my asparagus at the end, I'm going to do my diagonal slices. Right. He doesn't belong. Voila! Here's the salad part of our salad. I just have some chopped romaine that I'm going to sprinkle here. And it's like about a cup and a half. This is my favorite part. Gonna mix everything. Oh my goodness, those little shaved pieces are so good. And again, it's gonna get more and tender the longer it all sits in here. But if there was ever a definition of a spring salad, this would pretty much hit all the marks. So, I'm gonna let it sit for a minute. But otherwise, we're gonna enjoy this beautiful salad with the cream of asparagus soup, which is basically ready for step 2. So, let's do it. All right, so we just put together our immersion blender. You can get them pretty good price at even ShopRite, Target. It's just a nice thing to have it handy, especially if you like cream soups like I do. So I'm gonna check the asparagus, kind of make sure that it's tender. It's been in the pot for quite a while, so don't think it's gonna not be cooked. But you gotta check, who knows? Who knows? Maybe it wasn't on. Tender. Very tender. The definition of when you poke it out, it comes right back off. So we're ready to blend. I'm gonna take my immersion blender and I'm gonna move these things so I don't make everybody nervous. And when I say everybody, I mean myself. All right, so we are gonna get into this immersion blender here. Give it a couple buzz. And, don't do that. Oh my God, it's so pretty. And this is a really good immersion blender. Wow, Kitchen Smith. It's very powerful. All right, if you don't have an immersion blender, just, let it cool down a little bit and then put it in the blender or blender preferably. If you put it in a food processor, you're gonna make soup on the table. And I don't know all of it, and I only know that because that's absolutely happened to me before. So it's really nice and silky here. I'm gonna get my dirty piece, put that away. And I really just need to taste it right now because I'm so excited. Got a really pretty green color, really nice consistency. Taste for seasonings. It's like a big asparagus hug. Fantastic. So right at the end here, before I go to serve it to anybody, I'm gonna be fancy and finish it with cream. But instead of cream, of course, we're trying to be a little more conscious of our animal product intake. So we've got the famous oat milk here. It's very good. I'm gonna put about 2 tablespoons. Beautiful. And it just lightens up the color at the very end there. And so when we serve it, remember those tips from before? Got them. So when we serve the soup, all right, so I'm gonna just get a nice ladle of this. Oh yeah. And I'm gonna let these guys sit in here. And then they're gonna sit in here and then they're gonna basically blanch because the soup is hot. So you could blanch them ahead of time if you have something like a hot water tap and you blast them for a minute. That can work, but look, we already have a really nice change of dark green, beautiful asparagus color. So now I want to show you something fancy too. For if you want to serve it up nice, that cream, beautiful. Yeah, can kind of like drizzle it a little bit. People be like, oh wow, fancy. But you know, we just drizzled some oat milk in there. All right, I'm just gonna have to taste it again. Make sure it's good for everybody. Amazing. All right, soup, salad, done. Simple. Not a lot of ingredients, but a lot of flavor. So we're gonna continue to move forward. We're gonna grill some asparagus and we're gonna put together some flatbreads. All right, this one is super, super simple. Another easy peasy asparagus recipe. I was gonna try to rhyme, but that wasn't working. So this is grilled asparagus with something called gremolata. And gremolata is very similar to chimichurri, except the gremolata has the lemon zest and chimichurri has the olive oil and red pepper flakes. Both of them are delicious additions to anything grilled. So I'm gonna get some oil here on the pan. Got a nice grill pan here. If you're outside, great. If you're outside, it's probably not 30 degrees. So the only 3 ingredients in this sauce are parsley, lemon, and garlic. Couldn't get simpler, and it's super, super delicious. So I've got my kind of bunch of parsley here. I'm gonna use this whole guy. You know, with a lot of different recipes, I like to save the parsley stems. I'm gonna just cut them on the side. I'm gonna take this big old thing of parsley and just run the knife from right to left, kind of scrunch it all up here, and just give it the chop. And I'm pushing down with my left hand while I'm going with the knife. And as you cut it, you can smell all those nice fresh parsley flavors. You could also do this really easily in this one you could use a food processor. That would definitely work. But you know, I'm using the ultimate food processor, my hands. Never forget. All right, I can smell the oil now, nice and hot. Sometimes forget that parsley in itself is a green leafy vegetable. Like, we know spinach is healthy, we know kale is healthy, you know, that's not news. Classic dietitian advice. But parsley, huge amount of antioxidants in there. And it goes really, really well with our springtime recipes. So I've got about a cup of chopped parsley. And I'm gonna get my asparagus. I'm kind of doing it in my theme of doing things 9 to 10 spears. 2, 3, 6, 7. Okay, gotta use all of it. Went to Costco. Well, no, got it from the farmer's box. Now you know my secret. All right, gonna cut off the woody ends again. And here's the magic. You can hear it. All right, so I'm gonna let them hang out here on the grill pan to get some nice marks on there. While I finish slicing up the rest of this parsley, I'm gonna use the stems, but I'm gonna be mindful to cut it even smaller here. Again, if this makes you nervous, food processor to the wind, to the rescue, for all your spring favorites. Right, and I'm gonna grab some garlic here. I've got these big cloves, so probably gonna just use about 2 of them. All right, got 2 big ones. That's what I wanted. Because what I want to do is show you this fun toy, another kitchen toy that if you don't have one, you don't need it, but it's super handy for recipes like this. It's called a microplane. My little garlic clove already. In the springtime, I mean, and throughout the summer too, if you're part of a farm share, that you'll sometimes get that fresh garlic, and there's just nothing like it. It just comes right from the ground, and it's just delicious. It's got my microplane, my garlic clove, and we're just gonna try to be very careful and grate into the bowl. And so this is, instead of me mincing, it's getting minced this way. I'm gonna check over here on my asparagus. Here. Alright, that didn't. Alright, time to mix them around. Alright, yeah. Getting some good color on these. And the grill taste is just like phenomenal on asparagus. Grilled asparagus. You could also do this in the oven and do like roasted asparagus as well. It's just like a nice high heat. Get some browning going on, and it's awesome. So I'm gonna do my next garlic clove here. It's a really impressive side dish. If you wanted to keep going French on this stuff, another ingredient you could add for something like this would be sliced almonds and make like an asparagus almondine. But we're fine with the gremolata. I think it's Italian, and it's an Italian sauce. Yeah. Or I'm wrong. I don't know. And now my lemon. So my lemon, I rinsed the outside, so it's, not, people could have picked it up in the store and could have gotten a little germy. So rinsed off the lemon. Now, with my microplane, I'm gonna give it nice, like very dainty little swipes. Because it's really sharp, and that's the great thing about having this tool, is that I'm barely pressing my lemon onto this, and it's just shaving perfectly. Shaving and sweating episode of What's in the Box. All right, smell those flavors. Once you get to the white part, you kind of want to just become a little bit more cautious. It's not inedible or anything, it's just more bitter. And I want to get as much of the sweet lemon oils as I can from this lemon. Okay. Yeah. Real nice and easy. I'm gonna put in some of the lemon juice. Where's my squeezer? All right, mix the squeezer for this time. I'm gonna use the old trick. This is another one. You put your hand down like this, and you take the lemon half and you squeeze like this. So then the juice all goes through your fingers, and you'll catch any seeds that come through. If you ever have a friend or a relative or something, and you go to the West Coast, to Arizona or California or something, and you find somebody who has like lemon trees, there are so many seeds in them, and that can be, like you're like, yay, free lemons. Aw, they're all seedy. It's kind of a mixed batch of feelings. Remoulade, guys. Remoulade. Ready? Oh, we got them. We're getting them. We're getting there. I'm gonna turn up the heat a little bit. But yeah, here we got this one. There's a perfect one. That one. That's a good one. Okay. All right. They got nice and beautiful and grill marks on them. So I'm just gonna let them be the star of the show here. Oh, yes. It's so nice to serve it up like this. Because it's just, we didn't put anything on this. This is just asparagus. Turn off the pan. And then take my nice gremolata, that sprinkle on top. This is a very hot pan. So before I taste my product, this is a little thing you can put on there. I have it going to a safe spot. You don't need to see this smoke happen. so that's that. Nice fresh asparagus with this. You know, it's not like a sauce. It's a sauce. It's not a syrupy sauce. It's funner when you eat with your hands. I haven't had this in so long. It's so good. The pop, I kind of want to just like cover it. That didn't work. I didn't do that. Anyway, we put nothing on the asparagus. It was just on the grill pan with some olive oil. And then you cover it with this beautiful gremolata sauce, and it's bright and citrusy and garlicky and everything you want from a really good side dish for spring. All right, we're here. We're at the 4th recipe. Thanks for sticking along, because this one is gonna be just the icing on top of the cake, the icing on top of the asparagus cake. I'm gonna stop talking. Gonna get some little pita breads here. So I have gluten-free ones because of these different options here. They've got so many different things. But what you want to make sure is that you've got just a whole grain involved. So this is our whole grain pita. Make 2 little white pies. Oh, I have to eat that one. It's compromised. So all I'm going to do for this one is put together my cashew ricotta cheese. So I have that right behind me. I'm going to get my cashews. All right, my cashews have been soaking in this nice hot water. I'm going to drain off the water because it's just a little dusty. And they're going to be nice and soft. So it's going to go through here really easy. Got my cup of soaked cashews. They're everywhere. Alright, so when you're looking at trying to do a lot more plant-based recipes, I know a big question in mind is typically the protein. So, we have our white beans in our soup, which is amazing. And then we also now have these cashews for our flatbreads. I have 1/2 of a lemon left over, so I'm gonna make sure that gets into the party. So it gives it that little tart flavor that you would get from ricotta. Little perk, little pep. Okay, as much lemon juice as I could. And now I'm going to just put in a clove of garlic. Just one. We're getting garlic in a lot of other places today. Especially the gremolata, my goodness. But it's just nice to have in this recipe. Just a little bit of salt, pepper, and then the last ingredient that I'm going to put in here is nutritional yeast. And so that's going to be something that gives it a really nice cheesy flavor. If you haven't had nutritional yeast before, don't be afraid of it. It's awesome. It's a really good source of naturally occurring vitamin B12, which is essential for energy production, for metabolism. But it also has some protein in there as well. So if you're also like, oh, we need more protein, 1 tablespoon. Oh no, this is a 1/4 cup. If you ate a 1/4 cup of this, it's 8 grams of protein. So it's pretty much like getting an egg. So I'm going to get that nutritional yeast in there, about 1/4 cup. And now I'm going to fill my blender with some water until it's about halfway full, just so that I know that it's going to blend well. All right, so I've got a little bit more than half, but it'll still be okay. All right, give that a shake. Get it all incorporated. Oh, it's good. Okay. All right, look at that. Nice, pretty, good flavor. Let's go ahead and verify that. It's really good. Oh, it's so cheesy! Yay! So we're gonna assemble our little flatbreads here. We're gonna do a little oil. La, 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 la. It's pretty. And then I'm going to grab a new spoon to just plop some bits of ricotta on our flatbread. 2. I like to do things in 3s. And now I got some asparagus here that's just been grilling a little bit more. Throw on top. Nice, nice, nice. Yes. And I don't want to cut them too much, but I'm just gonna do, some big diagonal cuts, so we can keep these stems looking really pretty on a lot of the flatbread. So we've got really meaty asparagus on here. Everybody's ready to go into the party. I've got the oven on at 375, and I'm gonna place my little flatbreads right on the grate. So I'm gonna pick them up and put them on there so they get nice and brown underneath. Okay, just gonna let them cook for about 5 minutes, and then we're done with that one too. See, 4 wasn't too many. 4 was perfect. So if you want to celebrate the flavor of spring, get into your farmer's market box, get into your supermarket, wherever you get your vegetables, and get some asparagus. Alright, so it's been about 15 minutes. I'm gonna go ahead and poke my head in the oven and see where we are. Oh, we have some really nice golden brown happening on top, which is exquisite. So I know that it's ready. I'm gonna take my board and very carefully, a nice way to do this is to grab some tongs and just slide them out. Ooh, slide them out. Ooh. Oh yeah. I think the whole grain gives it a really good color. And we have some extra roasting going on with the asparagus on top. And then the last thing I want to put on here is just for another little dash of color, but also delicious, is some crushed red chili flakes. If you don't like spicy, you can skip this part, but look how rustic. A nice, beautiful asparagus flatbread. Gonna have to, gotta try it. When I used to work at the restaurant, I used to do flatbreads all the time. They're so popular and they're so versatile. You could do them so many different ways. All right. Which one? Which side do I go with? This one. It's falling apart. The cashew with the asparagus and the whole grain. This is so lovely. So, thank you so much for coming to another fun episode of What's in the Box. And today we did 4 fun recipes. We did our shaved asparagus salad, our grilled asparagus with remoulade, our beautiful asparagus soup, and we have finally our flatbread. So ready for an asparagus party sometime. Don't forget to invite me. Thanks so much for coming. Have a good rest of your day. Bye. I think I messed up a lot.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. Let me stop.
So for
Was it? You want to pause?
yeah, very good. Hi. I'm going to take this and put it down. Oh, I know. I'm gonna put it on this down here.
Okay.
Yeah.